They say we are in so many financial uncertain times that we need to save our money. We need to stack our money. We need to do so much with our money. If you've been thinking about money, if you've been thinking about the future of your money, then you want to make sure you are tuned in to this episode of I Am and More. The Journey to More presents Making Your Money Work for You and Earn You More. We have a special guest, but before we begin, you know who I am. I am the entrepreneur's attorney and business strategist and legal expert, where I help you not only protect your profits, your brand, and your business, I also help you grow and maximize that money through trademarks, contracts, and copyrights. Now, Arlissa Pinkleton, I could tell you a lot about her, but I don't want to do her injustice for the amount of wealth, literal wealth, that's going to be released out of her mouth today. So, Arlissa, can you introduce yourself to the audience?
Sure. Thank you so much, first of all, Jamila, for inviting me to be a guest here. I am so honored. Believe me, I am super honored to even be asked. I'm Arlissa Pinkleton, as Jamila has said. I am the educator to trader. Through a whole lot of iterations, I always I have trouble with like how far do we go back? Back in 1970, my mom, you kind of want to go back, but you can't go back but so far. As a trader, I started trading about 3 years ago. I was working as an international educator at the time. I've taught, in a few different countries as a math educator. And after a pretty bad experience as an educator internationally, I decided I needed something additional, basically. I wanted something that was going to be another stream of income, if you want to call it that did not include a boss. So I got real motivated and started learning and learning. I've always been a lifelong learner. So I started learning and doing all that I could learn and all that I could grab information about trading and the stock market. And I found out so fast that it was overwhelming, like literally overwhelming. It was too much stuff. So I was like, well, let me lean in. Let me, narrow it down and lean into a smaller area. So I leaned into selling strategies basically and decided to just, go down that path. And from there to here, started a community a little while ago, about a year or so, honestly, 2 years ago, started a community. And we've been rocking and trading ever since.
Listen. First of all, you are blessed to be sitting in front of two educators.
Yes.
And the reason why I say that you are blessed to be sitting in front of two educators, because all the knowledge that we have, we actually know how to teach it to you in a way that you understand. And right now, in a lot of spaces, people can tell you things, but they aren't able to teach you things. And so that's the one of the unique differences between herself and myself. Like, you can go to any attorney, but will you be able to understand what you need to do legally in your business moving forward? Right? You
Right.
can go to anyone to teach you trading, but will you know the different components and how they work together and they come together? Now, you decided you wanted another stream of income and you wanted to make your money work for you. However, you did not want a boss attached to it. Somebody go and go get me, because I like that idea. I
Yeah.
like that idea, not having a boss attached to it. But how did you jump out there? Because I know it was scary.
Oh my goodness. The scary is probably an understatement. I've always been someone who has made my own way, has always taken care of myself. I mean, I raised two children and I've always just seen after myself, right? And that generally our mindset has included a job, has included employment by a third party employer. So to decide you're going to step out and go and do it without that is definitely a step of faith for sure, to say, well, I believe I can make it. So the Lord helped me along the way in that I was in one position with a pretty decent salary. And then I found another position that kind of like a tide over. It turned out to be a tide over. I didn't know at the time it was going to be just like a carry me over. But then that was over. I was making a little bit less money. And when it came to the end of the school year and they were like, would you like to accept the offer or the contract for next year? I couldn't say yeah. I was like, no. And they were looking at me like, what? What do you mean no? I was like, no. And they like, they were like, what are you gonna do? I was like, I'm going to figure it out. I'm gonna figure it out because I believe I can do this. I can do this from the house. I mean, I felt like I could, and that's really kind of the way I felt. That's really kind of the way I felt like I could do this from the house, and that's what I did. I just started. I think when you got to really when it's needed, it comes. That's really what my viewpoint is. That when you need the resources come at the perfect time when you need them, and that's what happened. That's how, and I've done every time something would go, I just would make another decision. I would, do what was next, go to the next step within my business or trading and these kind of things. And that just seemed to, carry itself from level to level.
Okay, but let's break it down here because it started with you believing.
Yes. Yes.
And if you did not have the belief
Yeah.
in the possibility, you would not have been able to venture out and
Absolutely.
then not only make more money for yourself, then start a business teaching other people how to make more money. But talk to us about belief because so many times we have faith gone backwards.
Right.
I
That's
feel
good. That
that
was
faith
good.
going backwards. It's supposed to be going forward, but it goes
Yeah.
backwards into what could not be, what cannot
Right.
work, what it could
Right.
go wrong. So how
Right.
did you combat that?
Right. Oh my goodness. That was a really good statement. That was one of those nuggets that people ought to write down. Those sticky statements. That's one of those. I feel like my mother, I'm an only child. I'm an only child. I was an only child. My mom, I had an older brother, but he passed away when I was young. But my mom always taught me from the beginning that I could do whatever I put my mind to do. I mean, she was like the humongous champion. Like, you, listen, you can do whatever you want to do. You just got to put your mind to it. And so that always stuck with me. Like, other people are doing it, and that's another one of my philosophies. Like, if other people did it, they're no smarter than me. When I
Mm-hmm.
first started trading, I've told this story before, but when I first started trading, before I started trading, I had a friend of mine who I worked with, I have been apart, and we ended up spending some time together going, during lunch. He basically would start talking about how he took a couple years and started learning how to trade on his own. And when I got ready to start trading, my mind kept thinking, he's a bright guy, but he's no smarter than me. I kept thinking he's no smarter than me. So if he could do it, I could too. And I'm walking in faith from the front side. Like, the Lord has always, as I always say, the God has always seen about me. He's always seen about me. So why would he stop it at this point? So I'm like, well, I've never missed a meal I didn't choose to miss. I chose a few, but I never missed a meal I didn't have to miss. And I've never, like, for the overall situation of my life has not been where, I've been destitute and struggling. I've had some struggles. I'm not minimizing that, but I'm saying that God has always seen about me. So I feel like my steps are ordered. If I make this next move and step out encouraged, that the Lord's going to do no less than he's done in the past. Why would he stop now? That's what that song is, a song that talks about that. Why would he stop now? He won't. So I stepped out on that. It was like, well,
The Lord is going to do no less
no less
than
than what he's previously done, right?
what he's previously done. The
Right.
Lord has a proven track record.
Absolutely.
Not
Oh my
only did
goodness.
she believe in the Lord, she believed in what the Lord could do in her. So she removed herself out of it and
Exactly.
allowed God to put himself in it so that he could do what only he could do.
Absolutely.
And that's a gem for everyone because remember, this is the only place for the whole entrepreneurial mind, right?
Uh-huh.
It's about the whole entrepreneur. We're not going to be off balance wealthy people. We're not going to
Right.
be unhealthy wealthy people. We're going to have the mind, the emotions, the spirit, the health, the physical health, and the wealth. We're going after it all in this
Oh,
season. And so Talk to us a little bit about, okay, you believe in yourself now, you have the belief in God, but then you start trading. Like, did you even know what trading was? What is trading?
Well, I always talk about this, how I'm an engineer. My background is in mechanical engineering, and I've worked in corporate America my entire adult life. Like, all of the jobs I have been in corporate America. And I've been the only female in a lot of organizations, the only person of color in organizations. I mean, I've been the minority in almost every job role I had as an engineer. I went to so many lunches, dinners, after parties. I mean, whatever that, and never ever we talked about a lot of things. I don't ever remember a conversation about stock coming up.
Mm,
Never. Even
mm.
though everybody had a 401k and it was talked about, just, put your money in your 401k, but that was about as far as the conversation went. Looking back on it, I know that those conversations were being had. They just weren't being had in my presence. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, that was being talked about. I wasn't raised talking about that. My mom and my dad, are blue collar workers. They didn't talk about stocks and the stock market and those kind of things. And for a long time, felt like it was like an area that wasn't on the radar for me. Felt like it was an area that wasn't on the radar for me. So I basically was like, let me do my own research. I don't have any problem uh, learning and doing and learning for myself. So I started looking and investigating because I just felt like I needed more information too. If everybody else was benefiting from this area, then why shouldn't I? Why couldn't I? Right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah. That's so strong what you just said. Like, at some point you came to understand that, like, what you have been taught about finances wasn't the full picture of what could be done in finances, right? And then you move from knowing that to saying, if there is a different conversation that is being had, then I'm going to go and investigate and find out so that I can have everything that I need to know. And so, for everyone listening, this is a thing that this is a life skill,
oh yeah,
right? The
oh
Bible
yeah.
says, my people will perish for lack of knowledge, right? And so, in this instance, especially when we think about minority cultures, many
Mm,
times we have a lack of knowledge. And even just socioeconomic status, we have a lack of knowledge. Well, I'm not in a low socioeconomic status. I'm above and not beneath. I'm the lender and not the borrower. So, but at some point that had been my experience, and so I had
hmm.
this lack of knowledge.
Yeah.
And one of us, this is just so divine, we have to ask God to reveal the places in which we are ignorant,
Come on. Come on.
reveal the places where which we should have dominion and we don't have dominion.
Come on.
Reveal the places where we should have authority, where we are not exercising authority because of our ignorance. And so we see that play out right there in your life where you go after trading.
Yeah.
And so, talk to someone who's saying, and as you're talking, I'm like, Jamil, you might need to go on back. I know you had your little Tesla success, you had your little Facebook success. You might need to go on back and get back in it. But talk to us about the importance of trading and what it could really do for you.
Well, you touched on a really good point while you were speaking, and it's about how there are areas where we're not privy per se, and nobody's going to necessarily invite you to the conversation. But I'm gonna tell you, all the stuff we're talking about is in a book.
Mm,
Mm, a lot of us aren't readers. We'll listen to what somebody else has to say. We'll go look and might find some stuff on YouTube. Go to you. We'll like, love to be members of YouTube University, but you find this stuff in the words, in the reading, in the writing. And I don't even go down the whole about what's wrong with what about books and what they got to do with us, because we don't always get down with what's inside of a book. But that's where a lot of this information is. It's inside of books, right? So as we investigate trading, there's so many different ways that you can make money from the stock market. Too many times, so many times, I hear people say, um, it's a scam. You just gambling. You throwing your money away. This isn't a place for me. It's too hard to learn. None of those things are true. None of those things are true, especially people with the whole it's a gambling, but then we'll go buy a lottery ticket, which is flat out gambling. But this is not too hard to learn. Now, I do believe that it requires some seat time. This, which is another thing a lot of us don't necessarily want to put in, is the time in the chair, because you're not going to learn about the stock market while you're riding. You can learn different things being said, but you're going to have to look at a screen. You're going to have to look at, some charts. You're going to have to put some time in a chair, right? This is not something you just learn on the fly. It's going to require seat time, and many of us don't want to put in what's required to get us to where we want to go. But there's so many ways. There's 8 to 10, maybe even more streams of income that can be generated from the stock market. Some of them are very passive and are low risk. And of course, some of them are not so passive and they're higher risk. Some of them require a little bit of time, some require a lot of time. But what we do is you find a strategy that suits your personality, suits your life, suits your risk tolerance. Because some people are risk averse. Other people, some people are like, it's money, it'll flow back in. Other people are like, if I lose $1, I'm out. Which, there's got to be a middle to that, because of course, stock market trading is risky. It can be, but there's ways to even diminish or reduce that risk. There's just so much to it. It's almost like, now, again, like I said earlier, it can be overwhelming because there is so much information and you kind of don't know who to lean in on. Because if you watch social media, you've got, all the people who can look at the $10,000 I made today, and perhaps they did. But what they may not have told you is the 10,000 or 20,000 they lost yesterday. They may not tell you the entire picture, right? So you definitely have to get with somebody who you believe has integrity. I decided real early on in the process, and for a long time, I never even talked about the gains of my community because I didn't want people focusing on how much money could be earned, because it's relative. If you put in 10,000 to work with, you can expect to pull out, more money than somebody who puts in $100. So I don't ever want to be like, we made this much money, because it really depends on how much you're going to trade with, and it's all relative. But I also decided early on that I was never going to exacerbate the wins, the losses of anybody, including myself. That if we're still just, figuring it out, that's what we'll say. We're figuring it out. We're figuring it out. We get better every day. We're getting better every day. But I really think that it really requires some discipline and consistency. Those are two areas. And oh my goodness, I won't even talk about how we have to overcome ourselves, because your money mindset plays a huge role in how you are as a trader. And some of us have an abundance mindset, but there are a lot of us who don't. And I fell in the category of the don't, because I earned every dollar that I made. I earned it by working. So when you're working for your money and earning it like that, and you don't know about growing your resources, then you're basically like, I better hold on to what I have, because what if there won't be any more?
Did you see we both did that at the same time? Like, because we've been there. We've been there. One of the things that I want to lead into here, because, this is a community of believers here, right? My shirt says it all. Prayer is my superpower. So many times we don't sow in church. We don't pay our tithes because we have that mindset that is not going to come back. But I want you to really break down that money mindset for us, because I want some folks to be unlocked, right? And we will put more faith in food. Oh, because that don't bring us nothing back. We'll put more faith in clothes. That don't bring us nothing back. For women and men, we'll put more faith in our hair, we'll put more faith on our nails, in our ears, on our
Yeah.
body, than
Yeah.
we will put in
Yeah.
a resource
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
the Bible says money answereth all
And all
things.
things. That's right.
But
That's right.
a part of that money mindset is stewardship.
No, Suki.
Take that and run with the Suki. Take the Suki and run with it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Wow, there's so much in what you just said. It's like where do we go? Because there is no reaping without sowing. Let's start there. There is no reaping without sowing. If there's you can't expect to reap, and you can't expect to reap one thing when you sow something different. You're not gonna get oranges off of apple seeds. That's not the way this works, right? But if you don't put any seeds in the ground, you definitely can't expect apples or oranges. You can't expect anything to happen if you don't put anything in the ground. I think we have to be very mindful about where is fertile territory. And the Lord wants to, God wants to bless us. He really wants to send resources our way. But I think many times we really do get in our own way. Like if you stymie the hand of God because you won't release, you won't release. And when when you have an open hand, then you actually have a hand that something can go into. But when your hand like this, how are you gonna put something else in it? Can't put anything in a hand that's not open. So my objective always is to give more than I get. And for a long time, I traded. I mean, I won't say traded. I taught in my community for over a year for free. And that was my own issue. It came out where I was, I had to fight my own demon of unworthiness, my own imposter syndrome. Like, who are you to be telling these people about? I had to fight that for myself. So but I did that for almost a year. I got myself worked all into a mental struggle. I was in a bad way, right? The Lord finally stepped in and was like, I can't do nothing with this because you won't open up your hand. I couldn't even receive. So because I couldn't receive, I couldn't give back. I couldn't give out because I wasn't even open to receive what there was to receive. And once I did that, I just saw the door start opening. And I've always kept my courses very, cost effective, almost too cost effective sometimes, because we also have a thing that if you tell somebody it's free, they ain't interested because you feel like if you're giving it away for free, it must not be worth nothing. And which makes sense. If I'm not putting a value on it, then why should you? Right? Now, I think there has to be, a middle of the road. Sometimes we got the value way up here, and what you get is kind of down here. I never want to be out of bed with that. But circling back to what you said, there has to be sowing before there can be reaping. The money mindset has to be on point. Jamila, you actually said something to me, and that's still sticking with me to this day. You told me, you said, Arlissa, the Lord has need of the resources.
Mm.
The Lord has need of the resources. So the resources are coming. He knows he can trust me. Honestly, the Lord knows he can trust me with the tithe, with the offering, with the. He can trust me to dole it back out in a nice, in good stewardship. He knows he can trust me. So, but he has need of more because he knows he can use me as a vessel. Currency, money is a currency. It has to flow through like a current. It has to. And if you think about, and I always tell this to my community when we're kind of getting us here, if you have a plan if you have a thought and a plan to do something with your resources that is bigger than yourself, then the Lord can trust you as a stream to go through. But if you're trying to just be a lake or a body of water with no streams going out, why should the Lord put money into stagnant water? If you're just going to stand there and hold it all for yourself, why should he put money there? If nobody else is going to be fed by the streams of his resources, then why should he trust you with it? So money does answer all things, and he will resource the things that he's interested in resourcing. And if you are the thing that the pipeline through which he can use, then he will. But listen, if you a pipe with a thing, you know how you have the pipes that they got a little end on it. If you a pipe with a stopper at the end, why should why should he use you?
Listen, I want everyone to pause right now and say, Lord, help me to be a resource. I
Yes,
just want you to
absolutely.
pause right now
Yeah.
and say, Lord, help me to be a resource. God,
Yes.
let me be a vessel where
Yeah.
resources can flow through me.
Through
Lord,
me.
help me be able to be a trust for you. Then
Ah.
you can trust me with the resources to get them to the
Ah.
right places to meet the
Ah.
needs of you, your people, and your kingdom. Right?
That's good stuff. That's good stuff. Yes.
That's your stuff.
That's good
That's what
stuff.
you just said.
Yeah. Right?
Just flipped around a little bit. I want to lean in here because you said learning how to trade can get you to 8 to 10 streams of income, some
Yes.
of them being passive. And
Hmm.
they say if you want to be wealthy, you need at least 7 streams. But you're telling me one thing I could do if I learn and master this thing could get me the things that people say I need to do 7 of.
Yep.
Break that down for
Yes.
us.
So we see people talking about 6 and 7 and 8 streams of income, and in your mind, my mind would always go to, I need to, work a job. I need to have me a side hustle. I need to sell me some lip gloss. I need to buy me an Airbnb. I need to run a Turo business. I need. Well, those things are not passive. It definitely they're active before they ever become passive. If they get to be passive, you running a Turo car rental business, that's probably never gonna be passive unless you have somebody who runs it for you, right? But in the stock market, you can take literally one vehicle from your computer, never go buy a thingy, nothing. You can buy stocks and just buy shares and sell them. That's one way. You can do dividend trading. So you can buy stocks that pay a dividend. And these may be two in the same because you can buy stocks and also they can be the ones that do dividends. You're doing that. So that's another way. Third way, you can get into real estate by doing REITs, real estate investment trust, another passive stream of income. And you can lean in that $10,000 you want to go buy an Airbnb with, or 20,000 or 50,000 or whatever it is you want to buy an Airbnb. You put it on REITs. REITs are going to pay you a monthly. If you get the monthly ones, which there are several, there are lots of them, they'll pay you a monthly payment just by you being an owner of one of their stocks or their REIT. They're really like a trust. But just because you're a part owner, they'll pay you on a monthly basis or quarterly basis just for having put your 10,000, 15, 20, 50, whatever it is you want to put in there, right? You got those. You can trade with options. You can say, I want to buy options. I want to trade. And even inside of options, there is buying options, which has you going up and down. You can buy them. You can sell options. That's another way. You can buy and sell options, which means you can profit going either way. Many people only think the only way you're going to make money in the stock market is if the stocks are going up. And then when the stocks are going down, like they have been, people are like, oh no, I'm losing all my money. Well, no, you need a strategy that goes either way. There's a strategy that we learned that I teach that teaches you how to make money. I don't care which direction it go. It can go up and down today. I'm gonna make money today with that up and down. It doesn't matter, right? So it just really comes down to a strategy that you benefit from both ways. There's very passive option strategies where you're doing something like selling puts and you're selling covered calls. Those are very passive. You turn those on. Now I think I'm up to way 7 already. I've quit counting, but I think I'm on number 7. You're
So we
selling
got our
puts.
7 streams right here.
And I'm not even done. I could continue. But there's all these, and this is all in the stock market. This is all in the stock market from anywhere in the world. That's another thing I wanted because I was working as an international educator and I was not on US soil at the time. I needed something or wanted something that could be done from international place where my location wasn't important. I felt like I couldn't like make and sell t-shirts because how was I going to do that? Now I did start a business selling t-shirts, so I went with print on demand so that I never touched them, but That was where I started with mugs. I started with mugs and t-shirts. But I'm saying that to say I needed something that was going to be that could be done from anywhere in the world, because I my desire is to continue to be able to travel and to even live abroad. I was living abroad for the last 8 years. I've lived abroad, and so I wasn't on U.S. soil. I needed something that again could do all that I wanted it to do, but I didn't have to be present in the U.S. to do it. And stock market, you can. I've traded from cruise ships. I've traded from I've traded from all over the places. Anywhere I've been, if I got Wi-Fi, if I got Wi-Fi, then we good to go.
Listen, so she just helped us see that we can make money from anywhere through trading, right? And so it's like a different side of entrepreneurship in a
Yeah.
sense, of you being able to make money from anywhere and make your money
Absolutely.
work for you and
Right.
having the right investments and things of that nature. Now, in your courses and things like that, you go really deep into like reading charts and
Yeah.
all the things of that nature, which is so important for
Hmm.
folks to kind of know and master. But what do you, I want us to talk to the folks that may be like, all right, listen, Jamaica, I
Where
believe
we start?
y'all, I believe me. But the way this money is set up, I mean, you heard the smack because that's how they doing it
Yes.
right now.
Yes.
The
Yes.
way this money is set up, if I could find $200, I would find $200 and grow that $200. But
Yep.
$200 is not gonna get me anything in what you're saying, Arlissa.
Hmm. Hmm.
Are they truthful or do they have a limiting belief?
There we go. It's the latter. It's limiting. I literally uploaded a video right before this recording. I uploaded a video that shows how to use $50 to generate returns in a semi-passive way. Learning one strategy, using it over and over and over. You don't have to learn all the things I mentioned. You don't have to learn all the strategies. You can learn one and lean in and rinse and repeat. Get good at one. And if you want to expand, then you can expand. But you can start with as little as $50 and start making money. Returns on your money 10 to 20%. Now, if you're putting in $50, I don't want anybody thinking I'm gonna put in this 50, I'm pulling out 2,000. And you might, but the chances are low, right? What we're really looking at is consistent base hits. Consistent basis where you consistently pull in 10, 20, the next day, 10, 20, the next day. If you have $50 and you pulled in money every day, you pulled in $10 every day, you have doubled your $50 in a week. Now you got $100 to work with.
You just hit on something so powerful. It's the power of using what's in your hand. And we as a people have to have to get out of this thing where we will discount what is in our hand because
Counting
we're
ourselves out.
comparing
Yep,
ourselves to someone else's hand,
absolutely.
right? And you just taught us we can turn $50 into $100.
Yep.
If we're not missing that $50, we could turn that $100 into $200. And, this is where reading charts
Yeah.
and leaning into vision and the future and the news comes
Mm-hmm.
in handy
Mm-hmm.
because I am a success story of trading, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Just I started, I think I had maybe $1,200
Mm-hmm.
and I was really sad about that $1,200. Right? I didn't think that $1,200 was going to do anything for me. All right, listen. Fast forward 3 years later, that 1,200 turned into 24,000.
Wow. Yeah.
$24,000.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? And so I was like, oh, this thing
Oh.
to really work. And I kind of like cleared out my savings because the times were rough a few years ago. I had just got out
Yeah,
of law school, had quit
yeah.
education, and they was paying me $15,000 less. Couldn't even pay my tithes. Was watching sermons as my tithes.
Wow. Amen.
And I was like, I tithed my time because I didn't have no
Yes.
money to get a God, but because
Yeah.
it was
And he knew that. He knew that.
and so, I said, all right, I'm gonna take this little last savings here and maybe I can get some money there. And one of the things that I'm pretty sure you teach in your courses and the VIP days and the one-on-one coaching that you offer
Hmm.
is that piece of learning the art of waiting on
Yeah.
something. How
Yeah.
important is it to let some stuff stew?
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. One of the things that any trader has to overcome in their trading psychology, because psychology, you can learn a strategy, and that's about 70% of it, but the other 30% is your psychology. One of the things that you have to overcome in that psychology is the impatience. Jumping into a trade before it's ready and then jumping out of a trade before it's matured. It's something that has to be overcome. And the fear of missing out. Generally, the FOMO kicks in, which makes you impatient. You see somebody mention on a Twitter feed or somebody, so and so is running, and you go hop in on a trade, or you think you're going to go hop in on a trade because you're scared you're going to miss something if you don't hurry up. And then the next thing you know, the trade is over. And you're like, wait, no, you getting in on the last leg. This example came to me. Sometimes people will say, I see so and so is running up. I'm gonna go jump in. Let's use this analogy. If you're looking at the relay races on the track, the first person jumps out the gate, whoop, 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 they running strong, right? Second and third people, there we need them on the relay because they're really good and they're really fast. And they're running on, they're maintaining, they might be gaining ground. And then the fourth person comes in, and that fourth person runs like gangbuster. They're like, woo, woo, they basically, they're one of the strongest legs is that anchor leg, right? But soon after they finish, soon as this person running fast, gaining ground, whatever, the race is over, right? The race ends. Some people are jumping into trades on the fourth leg and then wondering why it stopped and hit a wall and turned back because we people got in. The people who sent you a message, they got in 3 legs ago. So yeah, they riding. They don't roll through the first person out the gate. They roll through second and third. You coming in on the fourth leg and wondering why you didn't make anything or why you end up losing your money because maybe hit a resistance area and turns around. It might hit a support area and turn around. You jumping in on the last leg thinking you finna ride to the moon. Nothing goes to the moon. All these stocks will go up and down, right? So if you don't know for yourself, if all you're doing, come on, Holy Ghost, if all you doing is following what somebody else tells you to do, you're getting whatever they tell you. You're getting it late most times. You're not, because a lot of them they tell you when to get in, they don't necessarily tell you when to get out. Then you sitting there riding, holding on to a trade, thinking this gonna be my ticket, and the ticket been cashed in. They cashing in their money. I'm an educator. So I tell my community, I could call out trades, I could call out seller trades every day, all day. But that's not teaching a man to fish, teaching a woman to fish. And I'm after teaching people to fish because I really want to get to the each one, teach one. I want us all to learn so that we can pass and disseminate this knowledge out into our community because we've been behind this ball too long. As you know, Dr. D says, time is not on our side. We have to run fast now. And we take what we have. You mentioned the $50, your $50 becomes $100. One of the things I talked to in my community was if you're going to start with $100 or $500, whatever it is you're using to start with, because you can start wherever you are. As soon as you double that money and you can take your original money off the table, then do so. So you put in your 500 or whatever, you're trading, you make your 500 into 1,000, take your 500 back out and then trade with the 500 that you got from the market. That way, if there's losses, if there's drawdowns or pullbacks, it's not your original capital. You're trading with profits. So it won't feel so bad to say, well, I lost $45. I lost $300. What was the money? It was the market's money anyway. I took my $500 off the table as soon as I got it back. Nobody ever wants to lose money. I get that. But just know that some losses, that's a part of the game, that you can do things to minimize, to make sure that you have less losses, which comes down to strategies, and make sure you're using, watch your own risk management, which is important. I teach all those things, but it's a full scale picture, right? I mean, we want to just see a lot of times we only see the profits. Well, there's a whole lot that goes into that's behind those profits. And it takes really some work, some learning, and you need to be with somebody who's going to help you. Yes, I could learn this on YouTube for free. You sure can learn it on YouTube for free. This is true. YouTube is free. But who you gonna call? Who you gonna send a text message to on YouTube when you're in the trade and you don't know which buttons to push? Are you gonna have anybody from YouTube gonna tell you how to get out the trade that you mistakenly got in wrong? Maybe you pushed the wrong buttons getting in. You made a mistake getting in. Are any of those? I'm a YouTube personality, so please, I'm not knocking YouTubers. I'm a YouTuber, but I do know that those in my community can send me a message in Telegram and say, I'm in this trade and I need help getting out. I'm going to help. People from YouTube can't call you up like that.
No, you're talking good. And earlier we were saying, we were asking God to make us, trustworthy and a resource, and something to be able to flow. And a part of that means that we may have to invest in the right mentorship and the right coaching, to have the knowledge, to not be ignorant, because he can't trust an ignorant soul. And it talks about it a lot in Proverbs. I'm in Proverbs right now. And so just understanding some of these things, and like what knowledge and understanding, and all that get in understanding. So you're supposed to get a lot, but you need to make sure the thing that you get at least is some understanding,
At
right?
least,
And so we have to stop with this. It's okay to get started with everything on our own, but at some point we need to go in and make the investment, because when we make an investment in ourselves, we have unlimited return.
Right.
In the stock market, it's controlled, right? But when we invest in ourselves under the guidance and auspice of the Holy Spirit, that return we'll see for generations and generations to come, because we're leaving a wealth for our children's children. And so as we're wrapping this up, what is one last final thought you have on this topic, or why people at least need to get more information about trading?
Okay, so a few things there. Thank you. That's a great question. The first thing we have to do, and I say I always include me in anything I'm talking about. I know it's you need to go. I don't ever do that. We need to do. And by the way, I want to swing back real quick. I'm not knocking Airbnb. I'm not knocking Turo. I'm not knocking any of the side businesses people run. Those are very lucrative businesses. They can be if you manage them properly. I'm not knocking anybody else's hustle. Believe me. I'm just saying I do see the power of the stock market, and it can be added on to those things even. All right. I think the first thing we have to do is to make sure that we're getting some learning and some knowledge. Get that learning and knowledge. This is from where? Now, okay, though we have great influencers, I'm one of those influencers that we find on social media. Those people may pull to you and draw to you. But initially, if you're just starting off, use your broker or use something like Investopedia. I use TD Ameritrade. I'm a very big fan of TD Ameritrade. They have a phenomenal education system, right? Use somebody to learn some education from that is unbiased. You're not learning. If you're learning, that first step from me, I'm coming from an angle. I'm coming from the seller's angle. You learn from other people. They're coming from a buyer's angle. Somebody may be stock. Somebody may only be REIT. Somebody may be options. But once you do some research and learning about which strategies really speak to you, Are you one who is a buyer? Are you one who is a seller? Are you more that you need something more passive in your life? And once you determine which strategies or which things really kind of light you up a little bit more, then you go and lean in there, right? Because there is so much to learn, but you got to pick a lane basically and jump into that lane, right? So go do that first. Lean in then once you get somebody that you're sure that that you're comfortable with. You also, there's people who may be doing something similar that you're doing, but they don't vibe too well with your spirit. There was a guy I was following. He had really good information. I couldn't get with I couldn't get with his spirit. I just somebody, Lord, send me to somebody else that's going to at least feel like they're going the same way I'm going. Let's just go with that. So I said let's do this, and that's what you need to do too. I want to talk about one thing that we didn't really get to today, and that is automated trading. I want to talk about automated trading. And that's because some people are like, I'm not letting no robot control my money. How many of us got a 401k? Do you know who's controlling your money in that 401k? You do not. You do not.
Listen, I listen. If I had, the studio, the Breakfast Club, or something like that, it would be a bomb right now. It would be a bomb right now because you just delivered so many people. You just set so many people free because they're like, well, I don't know, and it's just like you don't know nothing. Who made your meat?
Right. We don't know. So the automated trading right now, if you got a 401k and somebody else is managing that for you, if you got any investment account where somebody else is managing it for you, you basically have automated trading. You're not the one who's pushing the buttons, so it's automated for you. But why not hook up with a place that's going to at least give you the ability to see what's being done and to show you? I'm bringing this up because I've just recently partnered with an organization, with a company, Peakbot, that they have certain strategies that they use. You tell the bot what strategy you want it to do and it to trade, and it just goes forward with those strategies. And you have complete control of your trading account, right? You don't have to, it doesn't take over anything. It doesn't take over. If you say use $100 on this, that's all the bot's going to use is $100 on this. And it's going to enter with an algorithm and exit with an algorithm. An algorithm that supersedes what my mind can do. And it's watching when I can't watch. The algorithm is entering trades. I look up and I'm like, oh, it entered the trade. I was doing something completely different. And the algorithm is doing the work. And they've got complete transparency. They show you all the results from which a lot of things, a lot of times I'm just going to say this quick. If you're going to look at automated trading, please get somebody who has reasonable costs and they're very transparent with their results. If they don't want to tell you everybody in their list and what kind of returns they got, don't fool up with them. Don't fool up with them because they can. This is all data. They can give it to you because it's data, right? If they don't want to, then leave them where they at and go find somebody else. Now, the company I work with, they do all that. They show you everybody's result. They don't tell people's names, obviously, but every member's number. And you can decide how much you want it to do. It'll do options. It'll do shares. It'll do all the different things for you. But I wanted to swing back. Automated trading, if you're learning along the way, automated trading can help you while you learn. Your money can still be doing some stuff for you. You can decide, I want to use $200 to enter and exit Apple stocks or enter and exit something else. You choose, right? The bot will enter and exit those trades for you based on when it's appropriate, and you still learning what you're learning, but your $200 is working for you. This is another way to be passive. You're still investing, you're still trading, you're still, getting to take advantage of the market. They offer 4 different strategies, and you can still be making money while you learn. You do need to learn what the strategies are so you can see which one you like. You might decide I really like this one better than that one, right? But we're here. We out here. We out here, right? And there's people who are trying to help us. One of the hardest things, or one of the most things I run into resistance is people want the end result, but we don't want the steps along the way. And I'm gonna give you, I'm gonna put everything down. I'm gonna put all the, I tell my students, I'm gonna put it all down where the goats can get it. But if I put it on the table and you choose not to eat, then please don't be mad when you're hungry. Don't be mad when you're still hungry at the end. I'm gonna give you
Listen,
everything you need. I promise you. I'm gonna do my part. I'm gonna give you more value than you came for. But everybody has to do their part. I can't trade for you. I can't, but the bot can. The bot can.
you just really laid so much on us here. And y'all better have stayed to the end. I know y'all probably don't went and opened up a new tab and went to educator to trader.com, been all on our Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, subscribing to the channel.
Yes.
To
Yes.
make sure that you are at least getting the information and
Yeah.
making sure you're getting your money set up so that you could begin these beginning investments and allowing yourself to become a resource, allowing yourself to become a funnel, allow yourself to become trustworthy. And so we just thank you for this. We're excited about what you're going to do and how we will
Yeah.
see your platform grow even more. And I'm sure I'm going to find some ways to connect you even more with the I Am community.
Wonderful.
And as it relates to everyone, when you are doing these types of things and you're going out in these entrepreneurial efforts, if you're doing it without legal support for your trademark, your copyrights, and your contracts, and you don't have any of that established in your business, you are out of order. You likely don't own your business and you're likely about to get taken advantage of. And so I come here just to remind you, just to catch you, to make sure that you have everything you need in place in your business, to make sure it's not stolen from you, to make sure your profits can grow for you, and to make sure that your clients pay you on time. And don't try and come through the back door with refunds and chargebacks, right? And for some of you, you're like, I don't even have a business, but I want to start a business. It's great because I help you there too with the Start Your Business from Scratch program, where you get 6 months of mentorship from me. And it's a very detailed program. And I'm just watching the results of some of my clients who started with an idea and now are out there with profitable businesses. Some that are 69 years old.
Wow. Wow.
Right? If the strategy can work for the 70-year-old, best believe it can work for you. And so this community is rich. I hope you press subscribe. I hope you're going to share this broadcast. And I can't wait to see you next week. And for some of you all, I will see you with a discovery call because you're ready to get started. And our list is going to see you on her end with a discovery call because you done got your $4-5. And you about to make them $4-5 turn into 25. So we will see you all soon. Be blessed because you are more. There's so much more, and let's get more. All right, everyone.